Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Spirituality Gone Wild. I'm Debbie G. It's time for a Cuppa Grata with a shot of expression and two squirts of reality. And I got a co-squirt today. Her energy just lit me up. I mean, absolutely lit me up. Reminded me why I love to do Cuppa Grata in the mornings. Seriously. I was just sitting here thinking why that intro was going. She's why I love doing what I do, period. And her name is Robin Cotè. I hope I said that correct. And if I didn't, she'll correct me when she gets back on here. I can guarantee you. This young lady, you guys remember Kirk Nurmi? We love Kirk. Well, he recommended her. And check this out. Almost as far back as Robin can recall, she aspired to be an esteemed author, having to survive staggering loss throughout her life, becoming a widow, losing her young daughter. That one just kicks my butt. She taught herself how to heal in spite of life's sometimes ugly dealings. Robin is a survivor not only of loss, but also of domestic violence, verbal and emotional abuse, rape, bullying, and has become an outspoken advocate for victims. Through all she's endured, victim will never be a word used to describe Robin. A radio and show business personality, author, transformational coach, and motivational speaker with a no nonsense attitude, Robin's story, Victim No More, is her personal journey through the morass of abuse and loss, ultimately revealing her self worth, preservation, and accountability. Her message, "It's up to you to have a better life," rings true not only in the pages of her book, but also in her daily life. She's a living kidney donor, a loving mom, an award winning writer, and honored member of the Arizona independent film and music community. Robin's smile is contagious. Yeah, I'm telling you guys, it totally is. You'll find out in a second. And her ability to inject hard truth into any situation is her calling card. She currently hosts her own show, Get Real with Robin, and where she discusses subjects that most don't want to talk about but need to hear. And without further ado, welcome, Robin.
Oh, good morning. You almost had me in tears at the very beginning of that. And I'm just sitting back going, oh, no, we haven't even started this yet. And I'm already getting choked up and getting a little tear in my eye.
Oh, bless your freaking heart.
Ah,
Oh, I you've experienced a couple of things that most people like in my world. I just am like, no, I can't. My mother-in-law has lost three of her four kids,
oh,
and I mean, yeah, and one of them, the father of my children, you know, and we weren't together anymore, but we were still best buds. And I know that from my experience in grief that I learned to appreciate life a hell of a lot more than I was. That's the one thing I can tell you. It was so hard to see. It was a hard journey to see that gift, but
yeah,
but I don't want to talk too much about stories because stories aren't it, but it always is the predecessor to where we came from and that gratitude
right.
moment. So let's go ahead and share just a tad bit about that, and then we're going to take a deep dive into your books and also some more about you.
Well, my loss of a child is not a typical loss of a child. And I always preface that because a lot of people think when I say I lost a child that she died. Um, it's hard for me to say this because I have friends who have buried their children, and I've had long discussions with them that it would have been a lot easier had she been able to pass away and me be able to grieve the loss of her that way. And I'm going to explain to you what happened that was really difficult because I was 17 when I had my son, and I was 18 when I had my daughter. They were born exactly 1 year apart on the same day. And in between this time, I married their father, and I married their father just before I turned 18. And while I was married, I was embroiled in a domestic violence type of situation. And I had no idea because I was so young. I didn't really have good role models growing up, so I didn't understand that it wasn't normal for a wife to just succumb and do whatever her husband said or did. I didn't know it wasn't normal for a man to talk down to me and tell me I wasn't worth anything. And I lived every day with the threat of, don't tell anybody you're pregnant. If you do, I will kill our son, make you watch, and I will kill you. So I lived with that until the day I went into labor. And I went into labor at my son's first birthday party. And he made up excuses to everybody that I had a bad reaction to medication, took me to the hospital. I gave birth to my daughter. And within a matter of 5 days, she had disappeared from the hospital. I had no idea what was going on. This man had taken her and placed her up for adoption. And back in the late 80s, this adoption agency, I had found out later, was infamous for taking babies from young girls, getting the father's signature or the grandparent's signature to give up the baby without the young mother signing her rights over. So I had no idea what was happening, and I just disappeared. I lost my child. That part of me was ripped away from me, and I had no idea what was going on. And
Yeah.
I just disappeared for a while, and then just one day he struck me and drew blood for the first time. And I will never forget, it was like waking up from a coma, and everything just came flooding back. This is what happened. You took my child from me. And I tried to get her back, but being 20 years old at that point and being a single mom to a 2.5-year-old, and then just not really making a ton of money and not really having family resources to help me, I had to make a decision. And I tried to go to a lawyer, but they told me what kind of a fight I had ahead to try to get her back. And I couldn't do it. There was no way I could go in and risk the opportunity of, I didn't have the money, first of all. And I had to make that decision to let her go, no matter how much I didn't want to, but to go into her adoptive parent's home and rip her out at any given age after she's already bonded with people. What kind of person would that have made me? So that's how I lost my daughter. I never had a chance to actually have her in my life. And it was like grieving the loss of a child that you've never been officially able to bury and get past. Yeah, it's here I am all these years later. My son is 35, she's 34. And when I wrote the book, we actually started establishing a relationship. We've never officially met, but there was a
Okay, wait a
point.
minute. You have caught up with her. Well, let's just hold.
Yeah, well, I did.
Well,
She's
let's
not
just take
speaking
a.
to me anymore.
Well,
Yeah,
we're just going to take a.
yeah, breathing break.
Yeah, just to kind of.
It's heavy.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. I'm imagining what that must have been like for you in that moment and in those times. And the reason, and I can imagine it really well because you and I are the same age. We
Yeah,
came the same era with the same kind of stuff.
yeah.
It's going to say stuff. So I can feel you. Like I can feel this deeply and uh,
The
with you.
sorrow. Yeah, hey, you never lose it.
I can't, no,
No,
no. There's
you never
something
lose it.
just like, it's just like in death, you don't lose that. You don't lose any of that. It just
No.
you just start responding to life differently.
And I have a saying, Debbie, I say this all the time now. Death has been my greatest teacher. And a lot of people don't understand what I mean by that. But
Big.
when you have so much grief in your life and so much death, I mean, I had so much death in my early 20s to my early 30s that I had no idea why I was being presented with losing so many people in my life. But it's like I accumulated a piece of each and every one of those people that meant something to me that had passed on. It was like I have to live a bigger, better life because they were so young and they were snuffed out. Their life is gone. So everything, it just taught me to appreciate things a little bit more and not take anything for granted, because you just never know. You never know. There's no real reason why someone should lose their life in their 20s or 30s, or God forbid in their 70s. I understand running the normal course of life, but things come at us out of nowhere. You have suicides, you have car accidents, you have cancer. Those three have been biggies in my life, especially the big C word. I hate cancer, but it's taught me so much from watching the people around me fight, live. Kirk is
Yep.
one of those survivors. I adore Kirk. I love when he tells his cancer battle fight, because he's still going strong. And
Yeah, yes.
he's an amazing human being. And I cherish his friendship big time.
I do too. He's so supportive, and Kirk, we love you. You're just like
We do, Kirk.
he's such a rock star. Well,
He is.
it was yeah, when I had him on, I played Sean Stevenson's video, The Dance Party,
Aw.
because I didn't get to meet Sean, but I remember finding him, and that's how I found Kirk anyway. And
Aw.
somehow him, no, I don't remember all of it, but I just know that I somehow ran across this guy, and I'm like, oh my God, I love what you're doing, and what you're talking about. So that's why I had him on. Okay, so it's a beautiful thing, and we're not going to, I don't think, let's not just dive deep into it, because we've got some other fun stuff to talk about.
Oh yeah,
But
bring it on.
where your daughter was concerned, later on in life, you did get to reconnect, and you're still working through.
Well, we did, but we're not speaking anymore.
All right, so it'll end life. And
she's angry. She's angry because in 2015, when I published the first book, I wanted to send her a copy because I wrote it to share the details of what had happened in my life and why she wasn't with me when I really wanted her to. And she took it the wrong way. She assumed I wrote the entire book about her. And she was very angry at me because she didn't want her friends and family to see this book written about her. But it wasn't about her. She was barely mentioned in the story. It was more about what I had gone through and the losses and the accountability that I took, because I drew that negative energy to me. And I did not know at that time, being so young, that energy is everything and that we're supposed to pay attention to those red flags. I didn't have,
my God, I love you.
I didn't have role models in my life that said that's not right. And I had to, right? You have to figure things out. And that's why I say I take accountability, because I'm just as much at fault for a lot of things that have happened in my life because I drew those energies to me because I didn't think I was worthy enough. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. Huge.
It is huge. And when
it's
you get
so big,
it is such, when you realize that, it's like, you mean I'm supposed to love me? I'm not supposed to get love from outside sources to make me who I am. You don't realize that when you're growing up, and we don't teach that to our children. I did. I'm grateful that I was able to take my experiences as growing up not having that and transferring that to my son, because he was just here the other day working on my car with me, and he said something to me that really, I started crying, and I'm like a big baby nowadays. Every little thing hits me and I'm affected. And he said to me, he goes, Mom, I hope my children never look at me the way that, that I'm a bad person. I said, son, your children adore you. You're an amazing father. I did everything in my power to make sure you understood just how important you were to me. And you have actually passed that on to your children, which makes me feel good about the person I am, because I knew we never know what kind of job we're going to do as a parent. There's no instruction manual. And hearing these words come out of his mouth, and he started crying, he looked at me, he goes, Mom, you did a damn good job. And that made me feel really good, because even though he's 35, sometimes I still doubt that. But to hear that come out of his mouth, it lets me know that, hey, I didn't do too bad. I did the best I could, and it actually was okay.
I love that. And I love that you just said that about doing the best you could. We do the best we can with what we've got at the time, because you can't know something you don't know.
Right.
And for Jiminy Crickets, that's not really what I want to say. We all know that, but I'm behaving.
You can say whatever you want to me. I'm an open book.
No, I just mean, like, I have to, my expressions sometimes are not, they can be banned. So,
oh, I get it. Me too.
So, but yeah, so the important parts that I've heard you talk about, and some of the stuff that I know is to be true in my own life, is victim. And it is accountability, and it is victim no more. By the way, that is the name of her book. And the importance of this victim no more is the breaking the cycle. You see, what she just said is she was in an energetic space of being, feeling sorry for herself, probably thinking the whole world was out to kill you, get you,
Oh, yeah.
and doing you wrong. And I'm imagining that that didn't shift to your perspective did, and you started looking how it was working for you. So what was that moment like when you shifted from, oh my God, my life sucks and all you people did this to me too. Wow, I see that it's different.
I've had several of those moments, and I think the first one is when I was 17, and I was actually pregnant with my son at the time when his dad and I split up. We weren't married yet. We were just dating, and I remember being raped. I was drugged and raped, and I went home and told my parents, and my father said to me, he goes, "Did you drink anything?" I said, "I had one sip of a beer, and I don't remember nothing." And he said, "Well, then that's your fault. The rape happened. That's your fault. Get over it." He didn't call the cops. He didn't get me counseling. My mom didn't know how to console me. So that was the first time I understood that I was on my own with trying to figure out things.
Mhm.
But that didn't stop me from making the mistakes and allowing this negative energy to come back. I had found out 4 months later that I was, in fact, not pregnant by the rapist, but by my ex boyfriend. So we reconciled and eventually got married. But that was such a tumultuous time. And the second time I had that realization was when he hit me that one time and drew blood, because most of the abuse I went through with him was sexual and emotional and barely physical. But the scars had run so deep already from 13 to 19 that I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I such a bad person that this keeps happening at that young of an age, not to
Oh,
even
yeah,
know?
right? You just think of these things. I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember
Yeah,
thinking those kind of thoughts, and wow. So it's a hard place to be when you're that when let's face it, we've had our kids grow up and we look at them. Could you imagine? I've thought back and I've looked at them being a certain age. Right now they're 28 and 32. And I look at them and I think, do I remember being 28 and what that looked like? Heck, when they were 17, we were making decisions at 17 that
we
most people
shouldn't have
don't make.
had to. No.
No, most people don't make until they're freaking in their 30s. But that's
Right.
but that's because we needed that experience to grow, but it doesn't change the fact look, the great part is now you're seeing something and
Yeah.
seeing that it was different. I truly believe that our age factor, our generation was here for a whole lot of change, you
Yeah,
know,
I agree with you.
not just 80s hair bands either.
Hey, I miss my 80s hair.
Oh my god, I totally miss my 80s hair. I still have a lot of the friends, the 80 hair friends and
So do I, and I'm jealous
I
because they
love
look
that.
amazing.
So do you.
I just let it go because I'm always in headphones at work. So it's like, you know what? Wash and wear, just go.
Watch and wear, just go.
Not here to impress anybody. I'm just going to do what I got to do to get by.
You're
But
just you're great. Okay, so you are also so not only are you a motivational speaker, you talk about these things and you're just glorious with going out and speaking against staying stuck in the rut of victimhood.
yeah.
And victim syndrome is a real thing. And
Oh,
it
I
doesn't
know.
and it doesn't mean that every time I say this I go, and it doesn't mean I don't get it or I'm not empathetic. But as I step into my compassion with it, um we do get it. But
Yeah.
rather than stay too long in that, I want to kind of get into some fun stuff because not only do you do this and I love that, but you also have another book that intrigued me. Actually, of the two, we were going to talk about Victim No More a lot, but you guys, look at this. Soul
Uh,
Stirrings. I mean, okay, y'all know we want to talk about this. We've got energy, we've got light, we've got angels,
oh,
we've got spirit here.
yeah.
So this is what let's go ahead and dive into this. Let's talk about your husband. You had a husband that passed away from cancer.
Yeah. We were only together 17 months when he succumbed to cancer. We were married 7 months. And the crazy thing is, I had a friend years ago who told me, when I was going through that period of losing people left and right, it was a span of 11 years. I lost 41 people.
Mm.
And I really didn't like going to 5, 6, 7 funerals every year. It really wore me down. And
I
this
can only imagine.
and this friend of mine told me, he goes, listen, Robin, he goes, you're not, these people aren't losing their life because they're in your life. You're in their life to learn from their death because you're being prepared for something really big. And within 6 months of him telling me that, I met my late husband. And I mean, this was the only man out of any men I've ever been with in my entire life. This is the only man that ever showed me unconditional love. I mean, just you don't meet your soulmate at a hockey game, for crying out loud. But, I fell head over heels in love with this guy, and I will never forget it. When he got down on my knee in the kitchen, we were watching a hockey game, and during break we were eating pizza, and he goes to ask me to marry him. And this was so funny. He goes, will you marry me? I looked at him and I said, well, the sex is great and you're always over here, so why the hell not? And he goes, does that mean yes? I said, well, of course it does. So, I mean, we had something that I think most people want in life, to find that thing where you just gel with somebody. And I was 32 when I met him. And when he died, I was 33. So I became a widow at 33. And that was not something I was ready for, but yet I was ready for it because all that death prepared me for his moment, because I don't think anybody else was strong enough to be able to give him permission to die.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where your love is tested, because to be so young in his mid 30s and to have to let go and just pass away, that's hard, because we all think when we're in our 20s and 30s that we're invincible. And not to slam men, but they do think they're invincible
Yeah,
until they're mid 40s, and then they have to get the glasses, and the back pain starts. That's when they realize they're not invincible anymore. But Cliff thought he was invincible. He thought he was going to beat this. We both did. And I married him in the hospital because he had asked me to marry him before the cancer came back. But what kind of person would I have been if I had said, oh, I'm not going to do this? And at this point, I was already a 2-time failure with marriage. And I waited 12 and a half years for him. And he blew my world apart. He really did.
that's so beautiful. I love that.
Should have brought the Kleenex, man, I tell you. Oh, God. But yeah, he came to me almost immediately after he passed away. And even in the process of passing away, he did something that really just was the most beautiful thing. His spirit, his soul, whatever it is, it passed through me the minute he died. And if you ever saw the movie Poltergeist, where she's standing at the base of the stairs and she talks about her baby going through her, baby passing through her, that's what I can assimilate it to. I felt him go through me, and that was the most beautiful thing ever. And to see him die with a smile on his face, that was the moment that I realized there is nothing to be afraid of in death, because his body was so riddled with cancer that there was no chance he was coming back. But to see him die with a smile on his face, I'm just like, wow, that's a beautiful moment for me, because all that death I had been through didn't even matter until that moment of him dying and seeing. I was looking for the white light. I was looking for the angels. I didn't see anything, but I saw that smile and I felt his soul go through me, or his spirit go through me. And that changed everything for me. That changed the trajectory of my life. I can't even say it, but I mean, it really changed everything for me at that very moment. He gave me such a precious gift that there's just no denying that there is something over there across the veil that we just don't know what it is.
Yep, and that takes us into this book. And I want to first appreciate your real authenticity.
You're having trouble with words today too. I love it.
So yeah, because it's not easy sometimes. See, the thing is that we miss their physical presence, even though we know Okay, we know because we talk to them and the whole bit, but that physical presence. So if anybody's ever experienced somebody dying, you get this,
Yeah.
and I think it's safe to consider most people have.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
the one thing in life that's guaranteed you're going to croak. I
Just make a
mean,
transition to the other side. Yep.
I know I'm going to croak. I just know it'll happen. I don't know when. I
You
don't know
got a
when.
while. You got a while yet.
You know, Wayne passed away. He was 52 or 51. 51 he was. It's been a little over 4 years. I'll tell
Wow.
you, when we were 18, when I was 18, we didn't think that. We don't think that when we're that age.
No.
And cancer does, man. Cancer, but what I love is that today in today's world, one of the things that I appreciate that we didn't have in the 80s and 90s are the teachings of Dr. Joe Dispenza, of Dr. Mercola bringing through different holistic medications, of Heal, the documentary that Kelly Noonan brought out, all of these things, Bruce Lipton, epigenetics, the fact that there is a choice now that we can actually see how these cancers are created. Look look up the work of Dr. Emoto in Japan, and where he did that study of water, and just putting gratitude on, or love. I always go to gratitude because I just do. But love,
Gratitude's awesome.
it is. It's just it's the
Yep.
vibe. It's that vibe, spark that G vibe. It's that thing. And it really is. It's that piece that changes everything in our life.
Yeah.
But with the water studies, in Japan, he froze the water that's one said love, one said hate. And then he put the frozen water, he put it under a microscope. The one, it's all on the internet. It's great. And it showed the one that said love looks like snowflakes
Oh, wow.
because the vibration, well, water holds memory. And this is all scientific studies. It holds the memory, and it's a cellular molecular structure that water. That's why structured water is so phenomenal. You can structure the water from the sun because the sun is our natural energizer. Energizes our cells. We're 70% water. Y'all get where I'm going here.
Yep.
So what happened is he's putting the one under the microscope and it looks like snowflakes because it said love. He puts the other one under the microscope, it looks mucky and disgusting and ugh and whatnot.
Wow.
Now, if you get into why would that be, it's because the molecular structure takes on the form. It's the energetic intention of the word. It's not the word itself. So don't, if anybody's watching, don't think I'm strange there. It's not. Look it up, Dr. Emoto in Japan, and also look up the documentaries that are on Gaia that are about water and talking about the memory in water. And but this all kind of goes back into just really about the phenomenon that our human bodies are. The fact that we don't love that big C word. And because we don't
Ugh.
love that big C word, I love that just was my blurb to tell you all if you're ever facing it, that it might be possible to also do some other things with it. Not everything is always as it seems.
Truth.
Yeah. I mean,
Truth.
serious, but okay. So I know and that we are also part of the awakening,
Yeah.
and hearing from spirit is such a rock star thing. And I want to talk about this gorgeous book, Soul Stirrings, because your hubby came back and you guys have been having some conversations.
Yeah. In the very beginning, because he died in February of 2001. So 2001 was a very interesting year for me. And I've always told everybody, just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Think about the wind. You don't know the wind really exists till you see it blow through the trees. But once you see it blow through the trees, then you know the wind exists, or if it's blowing through your hair. And that's kind of the way I view spirit contact. You don't always know when somebody's with you, but in the very beginning, he was playing practical jokes, moving things. And at first, he came to me within 30 minutes after he died and said stuff. And I'm laughing while the rest of the family is standing around his dead body in a hospital bed. And it's just things like that. I always look at it this way. If you believe it to be true, You don't have to tell somebody else you saw them or heard them or smelt their perfume or found coins or found feathers or whatever the signs are. You don't have to share that with anybody because that's meant for you. A lot of people think you're crazy. They think that you miss somebody so much that you're hallucinating, you're making up these things. But, it's like the UFO theory for me. If someone else is standing there with me and they've heard it or they see it, at least I got someone else that believes me. Because in the beginning, I did not really know what it was. And then Cliff, my late husband, actually opened up that door for communication with other people who have passed on. And that's when I thought I was literally going crazy because I missed him so much. I had left my job at the TV station. I was unemployed. I took care of him. The last week he died, I wasn't expecting that to happen. And then I had a 15-year-old son. I had to pack up a house and move out. I didn't know what I was going to do. My purpose was gone for a while. And then all these spirits started coming to me. And it's like, what on earth is this? Why is this happening? And I had a very good spiritual teacher at the time. He's very well known, John Edward. And
oh yeah.
Talking with him at this point when all of these people were coming to me, I didn't want that. I did not want that. I was freaking out that people were coming to me that I had no idea who they were. I loved that I could, have communication with my husband and see him and feel him and look at his practical jokes. But there was no way on earth I wanted to be that person that was coined a psychic or a medium. I didn't want that. No, I'm not looking into a crystal ball. I don't know your future. Who am I to go deliver a message to somebody I just met and now I'm that radio frequency? So I was really not liking it. And John taught me psychic self-protection. He taught me how to close that channel off when I needed to. And for many years, it was shut off. And it took a friend's suicide in 2017 to wake it back up again. And being able to communicate. And I don't want to give anybody the wrong idea. I'm going to preface that up front because I know that it goes against our free will that we're not supposed to take our own lives. We're supposed to stay here and finish our lessons. And when she committed suicide, she came to me in a vision and showed me how peaceful she was and how much love was surrounding her. And she knew she regretted what she did because she knew she was going to have to come back and go through that process of living life again. And, but to see her surrounded by that beautiful white light and that feeling of peace and love, it changed my whole meaning behind that as well, because I don't know where I got it from, but growing up, I always believed that suicides went to a very bad place.
We were taught that shit.
Yeah, we were taught. And we have to unlearn all that garbage because there's so much more greater. We don't normally live here. This is not where we come from. We come here to learn and take back what we know to go back home. And, I've been surrounded by so many wonderful people in the past years. And it's great when you meet like-minded people that get it because, to make them, I always make movie references because it makes people get it a little quicker. But The Matrix is a perfect example. That whole world that's created, and yet they're breaking out of that world and realizing that there's more to it than just that scope of the world we're in right now,
Exactly. And I love it. This is juicy stuff. Juicy. See, because I think those watching right now, and I know those watching because I see, good morning, Elaine. Good morning. Good morning, Nina. Good morning, Kristen. Hi, everybody. If I missed your name, I apologize.
Sorry about the face wipes too, guys. I should have brought my Kleenex in.
I think
it just happens.
Yeah, but running down your nose just doesn't work.
Yeah, it might look a little weird, but hey,
it's all right.
Boogers are not appealing, are they, ladies? No.
Yeah, no, no. But hey, we're not here to be appealing at this moment. No, we'll get our goddess on another show. So just saying. All right. So I remember when I was diving into exploring mediumship in the first place because I had been taught that's evil.
Me too. It's the
Yeah,
devil's work.
yeah, Satan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, no, so it was a whole thing of like, wait a minute, this is, there's something more here. And really what it came down to was me being willing to relax in and allow.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I feel about no matter how we leave this earth, we have exit points. And I don't know if this is true because I haven't croaked yet, but
Not for a
I'm,
while yet.
I'm thinking, I know I'm stuck here for a long time.
You're not done making
I'm
a difference yet.
I'm not done kicking some ass, that's for sure.
I love it.
So, Lordy be. All right, but our sole purpose and when we decide to leave, that is part of that's the divine makeup, but it's also the reality that you're choosing, the vibrational reality that you're living, the vibration that you're in. And those that commit suicide, those that die early, it's always for the people left here behind. Even
Right.
more so because we're not put on this earth for ourselves. I'm here for my soul growth. No, you're not. You're here for everybody else's soul growth. And when you croak, you're about to find out just how much so. Now,
Yep.
again, I haven't croaked and I can't tell you that I'm right or wrong. However, I have listened to like Jamie Butler's one of my favorite people to listen to. When she channels Eric, and channeling Eric was a kid who committed suicide when he was 19, okay? And his mom was an atheist and a doctor and all these things, and she was just like, oh yeah, no, when my son dies, that's it. And she's devastated thinking that he's just went poof and no more existence, and that's the end of it all.
Aw.
Well, Eric's like, yeah, mom, that's not how this works, and starts showing himself and starts showing that I am still here, and she couldn't deny it. So she starts reaching out to mediums, and as being a doctor, investigates all this. So one of them, her name was Jamie Butler. And Jamie's one of my favorite people because she channeled an entire book that Eric talks about what death is like and what committing suicide is like, and talking about going through like what's
Wow.
a soul wash. Oh, you should read this book. It's killer, man.
I'm going to
And
now.
oh God, it's just
Wow.
Eric's cool beans. But Eric is the one that this book was the one that showed me how that there's all these, it's just different. You all have to just check it out. I don't want to get all off into that because I've
I
got
love those
Robin
kind of
here,
books.
right? But I've got you here,
Yeah.
and I want to talk to you about so there's some things that I love pulling cards when people are talking.
Oh, you're doing cards.
I
Oh.
love pulling them.
Oh,
And
wow.
and the very first one that came up for me for you is love.
Oh.
And it came up as you were talking about your husband. Was it
Oh.
Craig? Craig?
Cliff. Cliff.
Cliff. Couldn't remember his name. Sorry, Cliff. No worries. We're all good, right? So,
I'm
but
sure
love.
you are. Ah,
But love was the first one that came up.
that's
And
so
then
awesome.
and the I am presence. So what I keep hearing is to talk about the I am and how that's been so important in this journey of your recovery, in this journey of your development, and then also meditation, because these things are all part of this journey for you and they're really big apparently.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, big
So
time.
what's going on with that I am I love this, but talk to me about your experience with the I am presence.
Uh, it's taken me a long time to really understand the concept of self-love. Years ago, I thought I had that concept down, but boy, was I so wrong. And, it took me a long time to understand that I felt cheated. I felt really cheated because I found the most amazing person to share my life with, and he was taken from me. And at that point, I didn't understand what that gift was. So I tried again, but I found myself back in a place where I shouldn't have been. I thought I had already grown past being in verbally abusive relationships, but then I spent 11 years with someone who was not good to me, was not good to me at all. And I wasn't good to me. I drew that energy because I hadn't finished learning that lesson for some reason. I couldn't just be a widow and keep moving through life and understanding that it's about me. I felt cheated and I was with the wrong person. And coming out of that 5 years ago, I woke up again and I said, you know what? You have to start understanding that you've got to live in the present. If you've learned anything from death, at any given moment, that life could be snuffed out and there's nothing you can do about it. If it's your time to go, it's your time to go. So why are you still stuck in that mentality? Why are you not learning that it's about loving yourself and living in the now? Everything that happened in the past happened for a reason, but you can't hang on to that past and be stuck there. You can't keep saying, why me? Why me? You have to get past that place and start moving forward. And after getting out of that relationship 5.5 years ago, I said to myself, you need to start working on you again because that work was never finished. It started, but it got sidetracked for a long time. And that's when I started realizing that I had to start living in the present and I had to start focusing on me, which became that whole I am thing. Because our words, we all grew up. You and I grew up in the same generation. Sticks and
Yep.
stones may break our bones, but words will never hurt us. Oh, yes, words will hurt us. The words we speak about others, the words we allow others to speak to us affect us, and the way we speak about ourselves out loud and even internally affects us. And until we get to that point and realize just how words affect us, we hear, we have two ears, we have one mouth. Everything we say affects us going in, and our brain subconsciously picks up on that. So I started learning that I had to look in that mirror every day and start loving me, no matter how hard it was. No matter how I knew I had drawn all this negative energy to me, I had to
Mm-hmm.
start focusing on the I am. And I started saying stuff. I have a dear friend of mine, Michelle. She has a beautiful saying: I accept myself unconditionally right now. That is something that's so easy to say. And even though it appears difficult to look in a mirror and become your best cheerleader, it's not that difficult.
No.
It's not that difficult just to say, I am me. I love me. I love you. Talk to that inner child. I talk to my young self all the time because if I could go back and rescue that young child that went through all that, I would in a heartbeat. So I've had to learn how to bring those two together. And it was actually a year ago in December, this coming December, when I officially came to that point of loving myself 100% unconditionally. And it took our friend Kirk to point that out to me. I didn't even realize that I had finally done that. And he said, my soul and my body have merged into one. And now I am one. That's my I am. I am one in the same. I am me. I am love. I am appreciation. I am gratitude. And it all starts with just 3 words: I am, and whatever you put after that. Make sure it's something positive that focuses back into your brain. And my meditation, that's funny that that card would come up because my meditation is completely different than what other people call meditation. I will just sit in my room and be quiet, or I will jump in my car, pop the top on my convertible, take a road trip, blast my music, and be
Oh
one
my
with
God.
nature. That's it.
So, we're like cut from these cloth that just how in I
Kirk is the
my
one. He knew. Kirk knew. See, he put us together.
I opened the sunroof. I live in Huntington Beach, right? So I opened this
Oh,
dude. So I open the sunroof, throw in some metal, and I'm gone. I'm like
oh
on it.
wow.
Or sometimes because I live so close to the beach, I don't, and I just let the air. But just that whole meditation can be anything that takes you into that space of where you're just allowing flow versus,
Right.
yeah. Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah. It's just easier because I'm a radio guy, so I hear noise all the time, and being in the industry that I have been in, I'm always focused on my outer. So I have to have noise in order for me to feel, that's why the music is just so amazing because music is the one thing that brings the entire world together no matter what language you are, no matter what walk of life you come from. Music is the one thing that is something that can bring everyone together. It's universal. And the frequencies that you get from music are so harmonious with what we resonate with. So that's how I get my meditation. I'm sorry, I'm a rock and roller. I blast my music in my car, rolling down the highway among the pines. It's just me.
Well, I'm okay. So this is how I do it too, and I love this. I was I had a cool experience where I met Jimi Hendrix's brother. I went to go see Eric Clapton third row, right?
Nice.
So Leon and I are talking, and now we're good friends now. He's a great guy, but we're talking and we're talking about music and frequency and healing and all kinds of just insane stuff, but it all had to do with nature. So, I mean, and I'm laughing right now because you see, what I know is what's going on in my world, and I can't wait to tell you about it. But I'm not going to do that
Ah,
here live on the air. And you know why, guys? Because I'm not. But what I am going to tell everybody is that Spirituality Gone Wild, we are going to Roku, Apple, and Fire Stick TV January 1st.
wow.
And
Congratulations. That's
thank
awesome.
you. And we have a music channel. And
Oh,
that music,
wow.
remember the good old days of VJs and the good old days of
Ah,
MTV?
yeah, boy, do I ever.
Yeah, me too. And the great part about having your own channel on these platforms that we just discussed is the fact that I get full reign. So we're doing this with a couple of other producers out there. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, and you guys have got to check this out.
How cool.
All part of our Untamed Club at Spirituality Gone Wild. Become untamed. Get 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 your wild on. I don't even know what's up.
Get our
Hurry it up.
wild on.
Go to spiritualitygonewild.com. Do what you need to do. Okay, that's enough about that. How do people work with you if they want to get a reading, if they want to just sit and have a chat with you, if they want to interview you, whatever it is that they want to do with you, Robin? How do they get a hold of you besides they go to your website and they can book sessions there and buy your
Well,
books there?
actually here's how it works with me. I don't do psychic readings. I don't
Okay.
I don't book readings because I don't know how to do that. It's just easier for me to explain it. They come to me when they feel like it, and if I'm around people that need to hear something, that's when they show up. If you've ever watched, who is it, Teresa Caputo, when she's out shopping, things like that happen to me. The channel is just open, and in my studio, it's happened many times with guests or hosts on other shows. They'll just come when they feel like it, and
Right.
I always joke about this because in the book I talk about a spirit who came to me in the shower. I don't like it when they invade my shower because it freaks me out. They yeah, because the voices come out of nowhere and it's like, stay out of my shower. This is my private place. I mean, any other time you're welcome to come to me and talk to me. But I've had people put me on the spot and say, can you talk to my dead grandma? I'm like, no. If she wants to talk to you, she'll just show up. So
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I don't do those kind of readings and stuff. I started doing coaching a while back, but I've learned that a lot of people don't like accountability. So if someone needs somebody to talk to, I don't mind doing that. I don't feel comfortable being I call myself a transformational soul coach because I'm one that gets real. I don't sugarcoat anything. I've tried to help people before, but I've seen people just revert back to doing what they do and not allowing. You can only plant a seed. If someone is willing to listen to what you say, that's great. Uh,
Right.
you can follow me on social media because I blog most of the time. I will find something like a meme that means something, and I will take a lot of my own personal experiences and share them. But in that message as well, in every blog, I try to turn it into a positive because what's the purpose with all the things I've gone through if I can't turn that into a lesson for someone else? And we never truly know who's looking at our stuff or reading our stuff.
Right.
And it could be their instruction manual to help them out of the dark into the light. And that's my purpose, is just to be here. So if anybody wants to reach out to me, you can. It's very easily. Just go to my website, robincote.com, robincote.com. It's easy to find me. I'm all over social media, and I'm willing to talk to anybody about anything. But no, I don't do psychic readings. So if you want to hear from your dead pet or your grandma, if they want to talk to you, they'll come through. And I tell everybody, look, this isn't a gift that I have. It's an ability that we all have. There's just things that get in the way of it. Our emotions cloud it. Things that we're going through cloud it. just pay attention to everything. Talk to your loved ones like they're still there. And if people call you crazy, who cares? You know it's your thing. If it's your family reaching out to you, that's their gift to tell you they're okay. You don't need people like me who have that ability, because you have that ability yourself. It's just not tuned in. And I think mine's more tuned in because I've had a lot of death. So I'm not afraid of anything. I've never drawn an evil spirit to me. So, I've had some weird experiences, and I detail it in the book. And I was able to communicate with 5 spirits who lost their life on 9/11 at the North Tower. So that put it into a different perspective for me too, connecting with somebody who I'd never met before that perished in one of the worst things that we've ever had happen in America. So if I'm able to do that, anybody is. It's just being able to open yourself up and being that channel.
But see, it's actually a really good point, because I don't practice mediumship myself. But
you're open.
But I'll talk to somebody, and then like something will come through, and I won't even know half the time. I don't pay attention. I just talk, because you're a conscious channel, and being a conscious channel, we're just it's just everybody's a conscious channel, by the way. It's not that you're not. It's just that I'm consciously conscious. She's a consciously conscious that she's conscious channel. And go ahead, say that again, everybody.
And sometimes they don't leave you alone, so you know that there's something there. And back in when Sarah died in 2017, I started getting tingles on the back of my head, which helped me decipher that it wasn't me. It wasn't my thoughts. At first, I thought they were my thoughts, but the sound of her voice was coming out of my mouth, and other people could hear it. I couldn't hear it, but I could hear sort of like her laugh coming out of my mouth, and that wasn't my normal laugh, because I have a deeper tone. I have a more of a belly laugh, if you really think about it, and hers was more of a higher upper register giggle. So what do you laugh at? Oh, we got a dog.
Because she's trying to get up in it, and I'm like, okay, just honey, but and the fact that like the minute that you started talking, all of a sudden I just want to crack up.
That's what I thought was going on with you. And then I saw the dog over there in the corner. That's so cute.
Yeah, but normally I wouldn't be laughing at it. It's just, no, now all of a sudden, yeah, I just wanted to laugh. Like, she's always doing this. I'm used to it. She doesn't make me laugh.
Oh, she's adorable. Look at that face. Oh, and okay, are we putting you to sleep over here?
What? Yeah, I know, honey. I know.
Oh, she's like, Mom, what are you doing? Oh, what a pretty face.
This is Foxy.
Did you notice how the energy just kind of like just went chill?
Yeah, I know, Popo.
She's got such a great energy.
She really does.
Wow.
She super does. She's also wanting. Just stay right here, Popo. Just stay right here. Just shh. She's extremely. She's a little angelic healing puppy.
Aww.
But yeah, no, I when you were talking, I had this overwhelming urge to start cracking up.
That's funny.
And so I'm like, okay. So I love this, you see, because we're all connected. My granddaughter says she's 7 years old. She says we're all connected by an invisible string.
At 7?
She said it at 4. I have it on video.
Whoa. Well, that's a wise soul.
She's still holding to it. So, okay, everybody, we love you. And go to robincoit.com. Get a hold of you, and you could also listen to you on the radio out in Arizona, yes, and on internet.
Well, actually, I'm not on the radio anymore. I've been officially retired for many years, but I do podcasts. I produce podcasts for our network, and I also have my own show, Get Real with Robin, on the network. And Kirk is often a co-host with me, and I have this little thing that I call the collective, which is the movers, shakers, and difference makers. And one of these days, I'm going to pull you on with me when I come back off a hiatus, because I think we got some good soul searching, talking topics we could talk about. I love it.
We got a lot to talk about, actually.
Oh, you betcha.
And we're going to end this now, because I'm about to invite her to something she doesn't even know about. So I love you all. I'll see you all tomorrow morning on Unify with Unified Women Rising. Do not miss Unified Women Rising tomorrow. We've got an incredible Gabby Santana, 16-year-old girl, playing songs that are going to knock your socks off, along with a lot of other great stuff. All right, guys. So tomorrow morning on Spirituality Gone Wild and Unify. Peace out.